Hello, my beautiful manifestors. This is your reading for September 2023. We have a lot of the outer planets, which means the slower moving planets have gone into retrograde. And yes, they do spend quite a bit of time in retrograde, percentage wise, when you look at all the outer planets. However, the significance in this is that there is, like all of the outer planets are going into retrograde, which means that there's going to be a lot of reflection, a little bit more than your average bear, I think, in September and October. It'll ease up a little bit, I think, in November, but that's just the point that everybody's at. And it means that things are still going to be revealed to us as a species of humans. All kinds of information, I think, is still going to be divulged and coming out. And so I feel as if for manifestors, I really want you to take time to get yourself grounded and not push yourself beyond the energy zones that you have available, whatever your current flow is, because it's interesting. So the first card I pulled for you, actually, I'm pulling a human design card. So it kind of gives me the overall format of the energy for you this month. And this one is about analyzing and completing things. It's coming out of, if you can see it, it's coming out of, it's gate 42, coming out of the sacral center. This one is about kind of settling into, which is interesting because your sacral center is not defined as a manifestor. Yours is always undefined or open, meaning it's white. We just color that in the card so that people can see where the actual card's about. I feel like this month is going to be about you finishing up things that maybe got started. And as a manifester, sometimes you have projects that's open and maybe you lose some wind on it. And then all of a sudden you're going to feel this inspiration to complete things that didn't get completed. And again, we never want to go against our strategy and authority. So whatever your strategy and authority is in your human design chart, you always need to be following that. But you're gonna feel this, ah, okay, now I've got some clarity. Now I've got some energy, right? Because 42 comes from the sacral center. I've got some ideas, and what's going to happen is that you might feel the push to clean up or clear up or complete something that you've started in the past, because that, again, it's interesting because that's what, when planets on retrograde, whatever the planets represent, you are going back and revisiting things. So you're going to have the energy to do that. And it's one thing at a time. Don't go into this thinking that you're going to clear up everything that you feel like you've left open, or maybe you started something, because that's what you do, manifestors. You start things, you start the movements of things. And but there's going to get to a certain point where maybe you're like, nope, I'm done with that. I'm not interested in that at all right now. You're going to feel that urge again, but you don't go in thinking you're going to do it for everything that maybe you've got your hands involved in. The best way to utilize this energy for yourself is to take one thing at a time, the thing that you feel like you're getting pulled back into. Just do that. And if you have to break it down and compartmentalize it so it feels smaller and more, I would say doable, that's terrible. Manageable, that's the word. That's perfect, because what's going to happen is, as you complete these things, you're going to know when to hand it off. When, if it's a project that when you complete it, like, I'm complete, this is done, I don't want to do this anymore, you're going to have this, you're going to have an understanding of, well, I have completed it and I do feel like this is the next thing I want to continue to work on. You're going to get clarity in it. You'll get some abundance in it, because it also is connected to that doing center. So sometimes getting that thing done, you'll feel this relief, and possibly a new idea will pop in for you, and or clarity of like, okay, I know who can run this for me. I am not the person who really wants to do that anymore. That's beautiful for you. Okay, so then I pulled the 8 of Swords. This came out for you. So the 8 of Swords is just like what it shows here. She's looking in the mirror, and a lot of the swords is all the analytical. It's the thoughts. It's the thing that trips everybody up, thinking that projects or ideas or relationships, that there's so much keeping you from moving forward. But most of those things are things that we make up in our mind. And if you happen to be an air sign, which would be if your sun sign is like Aquarius, Libra, or Gemini, those are air signs. If you happen to be that as your sun sign or your rising sign, I would say it's easy for you to get caught up in your mind. And I would say getting things written down on paper for you would be very beneficial. Or if you just happen to have a lot of planets, if you know astrology, if you don't know it, just trust me in the sense of you're going to probably be spinning in your head. And when you spin in your head, the biggest thing I can tell you is get things written out of your head. Because when you get that thought written out, it gives your mind a moment to dump, so it has space for you to be in the present moment and not spinning in your head. Because a lot of what you're thinking and worrying about, I don't know how to do it, I don't know how to complete it. You don't have to know the future. All you need to know is the now. And 8 means you're really close to completion on something. So if you can stop that whirlwind in your mind of all the questions we have, how do I do it? Who will take over? This is going to take up too much time. I'm not smart enough. I'm not skinny enough. I'm not old enough. Whatever it is that's spinning in your head, if you give it a place to come up and out, what happens is then you start to look at yourself differently. Then you become her to say, oh, that's just the illusion I'm playing in. Which is interesting because Neptune's going to be retrograde for September. And Neptune, when it's in retrograde, the illusions, the BS that we've been telling ourselves, kind of they fall back, and we can see things as they are and what it is you do want to do, what you do want to move forward on. So write it out. Or when you're analyzing and thinking about it, remember, it's always bigger in our minds than the actual action it takes to do it. How many times have you sat there and you've had projects or ideas and felt overwhelmed in it? And then as you're doing it, you can say, this didn't quite take as long as I thought it was going to be. I spent more time thinking about it than it actually took me doing it. That could be true a lot of the times. And the interesting is you got another 8, 8 of cups, and this is your emotions. And as you can see, she has set afire what it is she doesn't need, and she's walking towards her new future. And her arms are back as she's walking towards that sunrise, right? To me, that indicates somebody who's got a lot more confidence and a lot more clarity. And hence we are sitting in the clarity room right now, right? So, and there's 2 8s. 8s mean infinity. To me, that's a very magical number. It can mean abundance. So I think for you, um, getting in there, getting your hands dirty, only pushing and doing when the energy is available to you. But I think it's going to pop up for you, and you're going to get a lot more satisfaction of like getting things off of your plate, realizing what is for you and what isn't for you anymore, and saying sayonara without any emotional attachment of I should have completed that. I should have completed this a long time ago, or I should have seen the pathway much more clearly. That's the BS that you don't want to fall into, because you're ready to release that for yourself. And realize in this moment, in the month of September for you manifestors, giving yourself permission to become more of a manifestor, which would mean stop acting like you're a generator. Stop acting like you have the energy to go all the time, because you don't. And if you're hitting panic mode because things aren't moving, to me, that's telling me you are not operating from your strategy and authority. And I think because you've got gate 42, I'm shuffling right now because I always pull a last card for you at the end. For you to realize that you're gonna probably have a little bit more clarity, and so therefore the desire to move forward and take action, that's awesome. But it also isn't what you are all the time, and that's okay. I think a lot of manifestors I work with struggle with this idea of taking their breaks, knowing that, you know, if it isn't on their heart, man, it will just it will singe your hand, and it will fall away, and anybody else who's attached to it can get a little ouchy from it. So be very mindful of that for yourself. Okay. So you got the Nightingale. Love is all around. Oh, I love this for you guys. Love is all around, right? Eight of Cups, love is all around you. And so if you, and I'm going to read a little bit because I don't know this deck, this Oracle deck very well. Let's see what else it has to say for you guys. So it's number 41. You add it together, it's 5. 5 typically indicates change, which I do feel like you're going to have this month. 41. In the darkness of the night, the nightingale sings her song of love and hope of the dawn to remind you that the sun will rise again soon. Oh, interesting, because that's what this is. She's going towards the sunset. She had to let go of some things, some BS maybe she was telling herself, or thinking she had to push herself into a project or an idea that just doesn't resonate with her anymore. And she's realizing, I started it, now somebody else can complete it. Oh, I freaking love that. Love and prosperity exist everywhere, even in the most seemingly empty of spaces and darkness. Hearken to the message, letting the music of the nightingale song remind you that love is all around you. Feel it, trust it in tomorrow's light, renewing your ability to recognize that the spaces will appear empty are actually filled with love and abundance. Oh, I love that, because that's telling you that even though you may be letting go of some projects, you cleaned them up, you finished it, or the clarity just came to 3, like, I just don't want this project. I'm going to let this one go, or this relationship, or this possibility, right? That within that, more abundance and more love comes to you, right? It's kind of like how we're always talking about our auras. Your aura is what you carry with you all the time. It's how the universe speaks within you. And so if you are carrying around with you a bunch of crap that you don't want to be doing anymore, but you keep doing it because you think you have to, that's the mind fuckery that can happen for all of us. And for you manifestors, we need you to use your vocal cords, your manifestation powers, in the things that are heck yeses, because that's how the universe speaks through you, is that urge, that next urge, that next urge. And sometimes those urges mean that you're going to need to take pauses. But right now, you're going to have the energy to do the completion, to see what you need to complete, to see what you need to let go of. And that can be in every aspect of your life, between relationships, finances, business, inner work. It's all there for you. Powerful month for you. As always, use what resonates, flush the rest. Own your own intuition as I'm doing these readings, or anyone's doing readings for you, right? You always take what resonates and let go of the rest of it. And it's this idea that if this is working for you and you're enjoying these, please let me know. Reach out. Tell me how you are experiencing your month of September. Many blessings.